In today's lesson, we will once again be working with multi-digit multiplication, and we will be connecting this with real-world scenarios. In other words, when will you encounter multi-digit multiplication in real life? Let's take a look at the screen. Determine the cost for the number of shoes ordered. In a real-world situation, you may need to be in the grocery store one day and have to purchase a certain number of loaves of bread, or maybe you need to purchase a certain number of frozen pizzas, and they are $5 each, and you need 12 of them. So you would have to use two-digit multiplication. In this case, we're talking about shoes, some rather interesting looking shoes here. So how would you go about setting up the first one? $295 for 8 pairs of shoes. You would do it just as we've been practicing with two-digit multiplication already. We would set up our 295. Not really necessary right now to add a decimal point because we don't have any change here. It's a whole number, or whole number rather, no cents to go along with it. And then we're going to multiply it by the number of pairs of shoes that we are purchasing. 8 times 5 is 40. I'm going to carry over our 4. 8 times 9 is 72, plus 4 more makes 76. We're going to carry over our 7. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 7, 16, plus 7 would be 23. So the answer would be, and remember that we're working in money, so we're going to be sure to label it money, $2,360. Go ahead and pause the video and work out the next two problems. You can come back and find the answer. Okay, so let's take a look at the next pair of shoes that we are going to pay $3,123 for those shoes. That's a lot of money for a pair of shoes. And we need 9 pairs. So we can multiply. 9 times 3 is 27, carry our 2. 9 times 2 is 18, 19, 20, so we're going to put our 0 here, carry our 2 over. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 2 more would be 11. 9 times 3 is 27, plus 1 more is 28. Don't forget, we're talking about money. And we're going to put our comma in, and it would be $28,107. Our next one is 6,895 times 4. And our answer would be $27,580. Our first samples had to do with multiplying multi-digit top factors by single-digit bottom factors. You may also need to multiply multi-digit top factors by multi-digit bottom factors. So let's try the first one. $295 for our Gator Converse, and we need 27 pairs. Now remember, if you want to set this up in the partial product format, you can. You're going to want to work towards being able to do it with the standard algorithm, but if you still need to set it up in the partial product chart, that's perfectly acceptable. Okay, so we have 7 times 5 is 35, so we're going to have to carry over our 3, or 30 rather. 7 times 9, 63, plus 3 more is 66. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 6 makes 20. Now remember, we have to put a 0 here because now we're multiplying the tens place by each of the other place values in our top factor. So 2 times 5 is 10, so we're going to put our 0 here. I'm going to change my color so we can remember which one of these is being carried over for the second number. 2 times 9 is 18, plus 1 more is 19. And then 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 more is 5. We'll have to add all these together. That would be a 5, a 6, a 9, a 7, and we would have $7,965. Go ahead and pause the video and try the next 2 problems. You should have gotten 6,441 for this one. And for our next one, looks like candy shoes there. You should have gotten 197,964. Okay, if you need a little more practice, you can work on these. You're going to see some more practice included in your lesson today. And let's take a look at one other way that you might possibly find this type of multiplication in a real world scenario. Let's talk about flying birds. Read along with the screen as I read aloud. Sooty shearwaters are a type of bird known for their long migration patterns. Each month, they can travel 6,166 kilometers. How many kilometers does a sooty shearwater travel in a year? Well, we know that in 1 month, they travel 6,166 kilometers. How many months are in a year? Well, we have 12 months in a year, so we need to figure out how many kilometers they travel in that time period. Well, we could do a long chart. You've learned to do that and just keep adding 6,166. But we also could use 2-digit multiplication. And we could say 6,166 times 12. Remember, I need my 0 here. Times 6 is 6, 1 times 6 is 6, 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 6 is 6. And then we add these together. Again, you could use the partial products chart if you wanted to. So they would travel 73,992 kilometers in 1 year. Let's take a look at the next one. How did you find out how many kilometers the bird travels in a year? Well, we multiplied how many kilometers the bird travels in 1 month by the number of months in a year. So we multiplied 6,166 times how many months in a year? 12. If we wanted to figure out how far they travel in half a year, we would say 6,166 times 6 months, because that would be half a year, but it asked for in a year. Let's take a look at this one. If a sooty shearwater can live to 34 years old, how many kilometers would the bird travel in its lifetime? Use the total distance traveled in a year from the last problem. Okay, so we said that it traveled 6,166 kilometers or kilometers in 1 year. I'm sorry, in 1 month. And we multiplied that by 12 to get how many kilometers it traveled in a year, which was 73,992. Okay, but this is asking, what if it lived to be 34? How many kilometers would the bird have traveled in its lifetime? So we know that this is 1 year. So in order to find out how many it traveled in 34 years, we would have to take the 1 year total and multiply that by 34. I would like for you to pause the video, take to answer this question, and come back to check your answer. If you got 2,515,728, then you were correct. If that's not the answer you came up with, maybe take a few minutes to go back and redo this problem. I bet you'll find you have a computation error somewhere. Okay, so this was just a review of what we did for this lesson. Those are just a copies of the questions. You are going to have a few practice problems and a benchmark quiz at the end of this week. So be sure that you are practicing your 2-digit multiplication.